Marty Huggins defines revenue as inflows or other enhancements of the assets of an entity or a settlement of the entity's liabilities from delivering or producing goods, rendering services, or other activities that constitute the entity's ongoing major or central operations. He firmly believes that revenue should be recognized when realized or realizable and when earned. His conservative values are deeply rooted in the rules-based accounting standards issued by the FASB. A vote for him is a vote for good, old-fashioned American accounting values.
I'm Marty Huggins, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the FASB.
Cam Brady defines revenue as the gross inflow of economic benefits during the period arising in the course of the ordinary activities of an entity when those inflows result in increases in equity other than increases related to contributions from equity participants. He firmly believes revenue should be recognized when the probability that the economic benefits associated with the transaction will flow to the entity and that the revenue and cost can be measured reliably. He may not have high standards, but he has principles.
Cam Brady and I approve this message.
Paid for by the IASB.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Nick Saban Show. We are here with Alabama head football coach Nick Saban, who is taking the listeners' calls right now. And we have on line one a gentleman who would like to ask you the first question of the day. Sir, are you still there?
Yes, my name is Forrest Gunn from Green Mountain, Alabama. I was just wondering what you think makes Alabama fans great fans on earth.
Well, that's a good question, Forrest. I think what makes Alabama fans so great, they're always there at the game. But I guess if you really think about it, what else are you going to do in Tuscaloosa or in Alabama? I don't even know why I live there. Dang, why did I move from Miami to Tuscaloosa? If I could do that one over again, I'd do it. But oh well, they paid me a lot of money, so that's why I'm here.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy.
And I'm Veronica Corningstone. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you the financial standards debate between GAAP and IFRS.
Tonight's topic, revenue recognition, featuring GAAP candidate Marty Huggins and IFRS candidate Cam Brady. We now take you live to our neutral location in Zurich, Switzerland. Stay classy.
Good evening. I'm Brittany Wilkerson, and I have the pleasure of moderating tonight's debate between the GAAP candidate Marty Huggins and the IFRS candidate Cam Brady. Construction contracts are a large revenue source for many countries in our global economy. What methods do you believe should be permitted to recognize revenue from construction contracts?
Well, I believe you should prohibit the completed contract method altogether. You should utilize a revenue approach for percentage of completion, but prohibit the gross profit approach.
Well, we allow both the completed contract and the percentage of completion method, and we actually utilize both the revenue approach and the gross profit approach under the percentage of completion.
If your views are that off base, I'd love to hear what you think about what requires the combination and segmentation of contracts.
Well, we permit that, but we don't require it as long as the economics of the transaction are reflected accurately.
That's weird. We require a combination when the groups are negotiated as a package, and we require segmentation when the contracts are part of separate proposals.
It's time to move on to the second question of tonight's debate. For this question, we'll go to Sarah in the audience.
Yes, thank you. I was wondering, what do you think should be the starting point for measurement of barter transactions?
I'll let you take this one since you rudely interrupted me on the first question.
Hey, we started at the same time. You're the one that backed down. Why don't you take it?
All right, in that case, U.S. GAAP requires companies to use the fair value of goods and services surrendered as the starting point for measurement.
That sounded right. You just got one word wrong. It's supposed to be, according to IFRS, that companies use the fair value of goods and services received as a starting point for measurement.
Well, in that case, I would love to hear what you have to say about barter credit transactions.
You know what, since you've been so gung-ho about going first on everything, I'll let you take it.
That sounds fine. It's the American way. All right, well, we believe that the fair value of non-monetary exchange assets are more clearly evident than the fair value of the barter credits received.
You Americans just making everything more complicated than it has to be. IFRS, we don't have any specific guidance on that, so we don't think there should be any.
We believe in rules.
Three of them principles. Want a thought?
American accounting standards are far outdated. While the rest of the world surges ahead towards a brighter accounting future, American accounting standards just lag farther and farther behind. If we do nothing, it won't be long before Fortune 500 companies won't even be able to recognize revenue under stingy GAAP standards. If we stand by and do nothing, fiscal chaos is sure to ensue. On November 7th, I'll be voting for Cam Brady and a change towards IFRS accounting standards. If you want a brighter accounting future and a more stable economy, then I hope that you'll do the same.
I want to break free.
I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. Free to recognize revenue as we always have. Free to stand up for the accounting principles that we believe in. Free from the pressures of the world to surrender our accounting standards. America has always been number one. Why would we want to be one of many? Vote for GAAP, November 7th. Hi, I'm Jane, your new moderator. Brittany, unfortunately, had a little accident during the brawl, so I will be asking the rest of the questions tonight. All right, your next question. Much like the election may be contingent on your performance tonight, many transactions are contingent on outside elements. When do you think revenue should be recognized with regard to contingent transactions?
Well, we believe in US GAAP that assets and liabilities arising from contingencies should be measured at fair value if that is determinable during the measurement period.
We think liabilities arising from contingencies are recognized at the acquisition date if there's a present obligation that arises from past events and the fair value can be measured reliably.
It's like I roughed you up a little bit here. You fixed your collar. You obviously don't know what you're doing. We're good. All right, we'll move on to discounting provisions. Now we at GAAP, actually, we believe that they should be discounted only when the amount is fixed or fairly determinable.
Is that all you got?
Much.
All right,
Simplistic.
Whatever. We think, in regard to discounting provisions, the provision should be recorded at the estimated amount to settle or transfer the obligation, taking into consideration the time value of money. You even know what that is, time value of money?
Actually, I do. When I was at the University of Tennessee, I took Susan Murphy's 301 class, and that's pretty good.
They might actually teach y'all something in America.
Yeah, we learn stuff in America.
I thought y'all's education system was in the crapper.
We're number one.
Really?
You know what? We're getting off topic here. Foreigners.
Alright, since we want to get back on topic, how do you think the measurement of provisions should go?
Measurement of provisions? Well, we think the most likely outcome within range should be accrued.
We think we should use the best estimate of the obligation.
Alright, that's fine.
Different strokes for different folks.
I guess so.
And we'll go to the audience for question number 4.
Thank you, Jane. When do you all believe that revenue should be discounted to present value?
IFRS, we believe that when you receive cash in the future, it must be discounted to present value.
Well, we actually, GAAP require it in very limited situations, only if the receivable is greater than 1 year.
1 year? Where do y'all get these numbers from? It's like 1 year this, 2 months that. I'd love to be in the room when y'all decide what these provisions are. I mean, how do you come up with this junk?
We're intelligent.
All right, your final question is, what methods do you believe are acceptable to recognize sales of services?
Take this one.
Really? Finally being nice?
That's how we do it in America.
Me, I'm not. Alright, let's get this thing on. We believe at offers, you should require that service transactions be accounted for by the percentage of completion method, depending on the stage of completion of the service transaction. We also believe that revenue may be recognized on a straight line basis if the services are performed by an unknown number of acts over a specified period and no other method better represents the stage of completion.
All right, well, we at US GAAP, we generally apply the proportional performance model, which is a lot like the percentage of completion method. And we also allow the completed performance model, a lot like the completed contract method. And we believe that revenue is recognized based on an obvious pattern. And if none exists, the straight line approach may be used to determine the amount of revenue recognized.
So when do you think revenue should be deferred?
We believe that revenue is deferred when service transactions cannot be measured reliably.
Well, over here at IFRS, we think that revenue is deferred when the outcome of the transaction is so uncertainty that the recovery of expenses is not probable.
That floats your boat.
Better than what you got.
I think GAAP speaks for itself.
I think IFRS speaks for itself.
That's a great comeback there, buddy.
All right.
Apparently international people can't think of comebacks. It's a pleasure.
That was really good. Go a clean shot at me.
What's wrong? Are you laughing at me? Because I didn't know what was going on. It's really loud. It's just really loud. Sorry. Seriously, the longest sentence.
It's okay.
I thought you said I have blood coming out of my nose. I was like, oh no. Okay. It's really loud.
Cam Brady is a bad man. He believes that accounting should be general and principle based. He doesn't even button up his shirts. And, let's not forget, he parties way too hard and can't be held accountable for his actions.
So, on November 7th, vote me, Marty Huggins, a family man who believes in rules-based accounting.
I'm Cam Brady. Whenever you go to the polls this week, you need to ask yourself a very serious question. Who do you want setting your accounting standards? Do you want it to be some lame old guy who buttons his shirt all the way to the top? Or do you want it to be me, Cam Brady, the man who plays by his own rules? I'm Cam Brady, and I approve this message.